a columnist with an experience of over 25 years. I'd like to invite Dr. N. Venkatesh Prajna, the Chief Consultant at the Arvind Eye Hospital and Ophthalmology Center, to share his journey, share his views, and enlighten us.
Thank you very much. It's a very unusual podium for me, but I'm really thankful to Mamta and her team for this kind invitation. So my job, I'm basically an eye doctor with a special interest in corneal transplantation. That is, we take tissue from people who are dead and transplant to people who are in need. And I'm being the chief of the cornea consultant in the world's largest eye hospital. You have a lot of experiences which I would like to share in the 5 minutes which I'm going to talk. As doctors, we are never used to talking in 5 minutes, so somebody has to get up. But this hall is full of my patients. I know a lot of here, and I don't think they are going to stop me. So somebody outside Madurai should do the honors of stopping me if necessary. So I'm just going to tell you 3 stories which really happened in my life during this career of corneal transplantation. So 4 years back, I got a phone call in the evening. A person calls up, he was a top person working in the railways. He calls up in a very, very calm voice. He just says, "Doctor, you helped me get back my vision. You operated on my son and he got vision. Now I request a help from you." And I was just casually talking. Since I knew the gentleman, I was just saying, "No problem, sir. What do you want?" He said, "My son has passed away and I want you helped him when he was alive, and I want you to help when he is dead. I want you to send a team to remove his corneas." After 6 months, cross over the story, you know the government mortuaries, right? We always complain about people who are working in the government mortuaries. You can't blame them because day in and day out they seem to be dealing with crime, they seem to be dealing with dead bodies, and there's nobody to thank them for what they are doing. So they're also depressed in general. So we work very closely with the mortuary at the government Rajaji Hospital, where we do what we call as a HCRP. That is, people, if they pass away, our grief counselors talk to the family to see whether they are interested in a corneal donation. Now, it so happened that a lady who was working as a sweeper, her son passed away in an accident, and that son was 16 years old. Our grief counselor was daily working with this lady, so he did not have the courage or guts to go and ask for eye donation to this lady. This lady, who is working as a sanitary worker in the government Rajaji Hospital even today, approached the counselor and said, "I wish to donate my son's eyes. Why don't you take it?" Story number 3. This happened opposite Pandian Hotel. These are real stories which happened, so there is no stories here. Opposite Pandian Hotel. A father takes his 2 children to school. The school bus is coming in the opposite side, so the children cross running. One child gets under the bus and the child dies. I want to donate my child's cornea. What's this thread What's this thread which is connecting this story? See, it's very easy to donate something from a position of strength. It's very, very easy when a wealthy person to partake some of his wealth without causing too much of damage to himself or herself. Imagine these people, they are not going to get headlines. They are going to get an even more emotional distress of seeing their child or anybody get possibly mutilated in the time when we are taking the cornea. So what is it? We are talking about people in different strata of society. We first talked about a chief railway supervisor. We talked about a person who's working as a sweeper in the Rajaji hospital. And we are talking about a person who has lost his son. And see this common thread. It is evolutionary that a grandfather dies, the father dies, the son dies. And it is, even though the family is in distress, it's still understandable if the son wants to donate the corneas of his father who has led a productive and a long life. What is the pain in seeing somebody whom you brought to the world die in front of you, and see the power of them trying to give it, trying to donate this tissue to people whom they don't know and whom they don't care. They don't care who's going to receive it. So if this is not all social responsibility, then what it is? So I personally think that we are very, very lucky to be living in a society where people think beyond themselves. All the time we seem to be pessimistic, but I don't think that we need to be really worried too much. For every 10 pessimists, there is one optimist, and this ratio is more than enough to save the world. I think that is a very, very, very powerful thing. So I thought this would be more powerful because it really happened. And also, I would like to just leave you with two stories, which did not happen. But it's just a connection. One is a quote. They said, when darkness surrounds you, and darkness will surround you, will surround me, don't think that you are in the depths of a tomb. Think that you are in a womb, enveloped by all the nourishing fluids, and just waiting for the day for your ideas to get reborn to the society and then start life afresh. I think that is a very, very powerful thing, because the darkness is going to happen, and this enveloped their lives, but then they made it look so useful. And I would like to end my talk with just one more story again about a wave. I really like this story. He said a wave was in the ocean, very joyful, very bubbly, very frothy, very foamy, enjoying his journey, just enjoying the dance along with the wave as they normally do, until he sees the wave in front of him crashing to the shore. He gets very depressed. He says, oh, I'm going to die. I'm going to just lose my whole identity. And the wave which is coming behind me says, don't think like that. You're just going to be part of the ocean. All of us are going to be part of the ocean. Today we are a wave. Tomorrow we'll smash on the rocks, but we'll come back as water to the ocean. I think these are two, again, very conceptual ideas which I thought I should share with you. And I also want to say that with all this, Tamil Nadu stands as #1 state in eye donation. And 70% of the eye donations which are done in the state of Tamil Nadu is entirely free. We have so much of surplus tissue that people from other parts of India flock to Tamil Nadu for corneal donation. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Doctor, for it's men like you that change our world. It's men like you that change history for all times to come. We're so humbled by your sharing and your journey. Performance with purpose, ladies and gentlemen. What an amazing sharing. Thank you. And now I leave you in the very reverberatingly vibrant hands of Leslie Atkinson.
Welcome. Hi, I'm Leslie Atkinson, and I am so delighted to not only be in India, but in Madurai. It has gifted me so much color, kindness, beauty, and so much more. Thank you. I start with a story that happened today. Siddharth John, Taj manager, and I were visiting this morning, and he shared the most wonderful story that embodies what I came here to share today. What I invite us to do is to embody energetic leadership. Sometimes we forget that we are all born leaders. We just have to ignite the light within. And he showed that light to me this morning in a way that went beyond just his corporate responsibility, but to his social responsibility and his acceptance of that. Yesterday, he had a very long, trying day, as you can imagine. It was also his wife's birthday. And arriving home at 11:30 at night, you can imagine he didn't have time to get the right gift. And it only took him moments to realize what the right gift was. He reached into his bag, and there was an award that he received yesterday. He presented that award to his wife for how she shines and helps support him shine. And that is the message I'm here to share, that we are impacting those around us, whether we realize it or not, in small and big ways. Because that award, I'm also a wife, there would have been nothing greater than to receive that award. How does that impact you in your life? You have the ability to transfer anything, transform everything, and transmute the world. I believe that moment was magical. And my definition of magical is the collective will. It's when we have the collective will embodied in our everyday life. And that is exactly what his gesture did in that moment. Sometimes we try to think too hard or work too hard. And we need to remember just to tap into the mind-heart connection and ask, what would the collective want? And that is to share that leadership outside of our corporations and in our everyday life. What I'm here to say next may challenge some of you. I want to tell you that I'm up here to speak a little bit more about men than women. In today's society, my opinion is it is the men who are suppressed. It is the men who are confined. It is the men who are held back. They are asked to be our protectors and providers. They do not get the glorious beauty of wearing all these lovely fabrics. They do not get as many opportunities to sing their heart song or share their true, pure emotions, often in public or in private, because we hold them to one solo purpose. So I challenge you, your social responsibility is to expand your consciousness. And as the lieutenant said, leave gender off the boat, right? And embrace the beauty, the feminine within the masculine. There's an important point we often forget when we're empowering women. We must do it in a way that does not disempower men ever. And this conference has embodied this by asking them to be speakers, asking them to perform at our events, at our gala, and in so many beautiful ways. And I even got to sit with a wonderful gentleman next to me tonight, and that meant so much to me, because that is our role, is to support men and women. And one of the things on my journey I learned is I actually grew up being very masculine. My father was mostly the one who raised me. I grew up on a cotton farm, and so I worked all day. And as I've gotten older, I realized I didn't know true sisterhood, and I started leaning into groups like this. And it is here that I found my magical moments of singing and dancing and just spreading joy and love. And what I hope most is to bring that back to my husband, my son, and my community. And when I imagine it as two energies. And one is the masculine, it's often blue in my mind, and the other is feminine, and it's pink. And I believe that they actually weave together in all of us. And that our goal as individuals, we're socially responsible of balancing those two energies. It doesn't mean that right now I have to be both at the exact same time. They each take leads in different roles in my life. Sometimes in the corporate world, I may be leading with my masculine, and other times my feminine. And the true lesson is to balance them like a dance. So I invite you to ask your masculine and feminine to start dancing inside of you. Because once it starts dancing inside of you, it has an abundance of overflow beyond. And it goes out into the world, and other people become open and confident to do the same. And it is in that dance where we actually start becoming expanded consciousness and having the one heart mind. And that is the social responsibility that we're really striving for. So I'll leave you with one last story and invite you to take a small action on your part. These doors right here go down 2 steps, and there's 2 things I would like you to look at. As soon as you go down these steps, there's a set of trees. They're actually different species of trees, and they are older than the buildings on the 63 acres. What you will see is how they shine. I ask you to take a moment and just breathe in and look at them from their roots all the way to their leaves. You'll see the dance of the masculine and feminine. You will see where they've intertwined, they've supported each other in harmony, being inclusive in a nurturing and empowering way. Thank you.
Beautiful, Leslie. Your talk painted a image in my mind. In our tradition, there's a form of Lord Shiva. It's called Ardhanarishwara. That is Lord Shiva split in half, masculine and feminine, right down the middle in equal proportion. And that's exactly this room and each one of us right now. And you brought that. Thank you. Thank you, beautiful Leslie. If I could welcome our next speaker, Vasudha Prakash. Welcoming you, Vasudha.
Good afternoon, all the beautiful ladies here. That's the first thing that occurred to me when I came here, that everybody looked so gorgeous and the ambience was so vibrant. So thank you. Mamta is not here, but my thanks to her. I'll start with a very brief introduction about myself. My background is in clinical psychology. I was a practicing therapist. Then I moved to Saudi Arabia for a few years in my life, where I couldn't follow my profession because there were some social restrictions to life over there. When I moved to the US, I did a doctoral program in special education, and I delved deep into that very inspiring program. Even before that, I worked with a few people with learning disabilities and so on, so I was already tuned to being in that disability sector. Life, even though I lived in the US for some 11 years, I never really lived in the US because my soul always belonged in India. And I lived like I lived India all the time. I wore saris wherever I went, whether it was meetings or wherever, and then I ate Indian. I was an ambassador for India. And I held good positions. I was a professor, but I was always yearning to work in India. So when you give your PhD statement of purpose, you always write, what you're going to do with your academic accomplishments. And I had written that I'll be working in India. So true to that statement, I came back to India and started a set of schools called We-Excel Educational Trust for cognitive disabilities. So right now we have 13 schools, 4 in Chennai, then we have one in Tirunelveli, in Erode, Srirangam, and also in Maharashtra. So any mother, during the infancy of a child, is the mother who matters the most, isn't it? She makes all the difference. In disabilities, when a child is born with disabilities, she makes the life of the child. The life of the child depends on the mother and her will. So many times, as professionals in this field, we were the ones to give this news that your child has a certain developmental delay or disability or whatever it is. And the mother has to deal with this, come out of her grief gradually, and work her way and motivate herself, become a beacon of hope in the child's life, and empower this child and nurture that child to meet his potential or her potential. So this disability sector is all about women. Women power women. In this, what we do as an organization is to empower the mothers to not lose hope, to keep working at it, and however much you romanticize the notion of disabilities, it is still a very practical problem. And our organization, We-Excel Educational Trust, is a lifespan organization. We take little children, 3 months, 4 months old, and you catch them young. So when you work with a child, when they're in childhood, it is from outside to inside. The more you work on the body, the more neurological changes happen in the brain. So it's very, very impactful. But when we are older, it's inside to outside. What you mean is, whatever, if you are agitated inside, it starts manifesting outside. So you work a lot on the outside of the child with physiotherapy and all kinds of therapies, and we make a huge difference in inclusion. So this thing, SHINE, is so apt for disabilities because support, you need all kinds of support in disabilities, harmony in the family, of course it's very agitating to have a child with disabilities in your family. So that harmony, to keep the equilibrium at home despite this tragedy, that's harmony. We as an organization have to keep inspiring, nurture. Of course, disability is all about nurture and empathy. So this whole theme of WEF, it fits in directly with what I'm talking about here. So so we set up our schools in the cities. And we don't want parents to travel from here and there, so we have our buildings in the cities, and our children scream. They shout, they scream, they have self-stimulatory behavior, they jump, they do all kinds of things. And in the beginning, when we set up our schools next to residential homes, people would complain. And then we would tell them, see, we are only representing all of you in taking care of these children. It is as much your responsibility to help them and support them and nurture them as it is ours. So there's no question of you complaining. You might want to come and ask, what can we do? So then we started organizing carnivals and invite the neighborhood to take part in the carnivals. So that really worked. So I want to say the CSR is actually community social responsibility. All of us have service is why we are in this world. So if we want to give birth to children and nurture our own families, animals do it, don't they? Like a lion gives birth and a dog gives birth. But then as human beings, are we serving an extended family, an extended community? That is my question to all of you. So when you say CSR and all responsibility, yes, all of us need to have a cause. I think in a country like ours, every one of us has to contribute effectively to the life of 10 others, minimum. You teach what you can or do what you can, but then we have to have community social responsibility. And the disability sector is absolutely one such representative. I will end with a few things. I also think that as women, even if you're not working or what, there are a number of ways that you can contribute to a cause like this. Just volunteering, that's wonderful. We don't have to stick to a CBSE curriculum. Our children have the good fortune to have an open curriculum. So you can come and teach music or art or anything, or dance, any of that. I would really think it would be wonderful if women were liaisons and created awareness in a sector like this. And tell your husbands, if they are in part of the corporate sector, about, recommending us to their social responsibility, to their CSR. And so many ways. You can even come and just write grants for us. You can utilize all your talents to engage with the cause. And that, I think, community social responsibility lies with all of us. And thank you so much for this forum, and I hope you carry this message with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vasudha, for dedicating your life and being an icon for women all over, and for sharing this story with us today so we could really take away a little something, and for giving us a new replacement to the abbreviation of CSR. I think that needs to be, you should patent that. That's powerful. Community social responsibility. Beautiful, thank you. Our last speaker for this session, welcoming Ellis Caroline, a lawyer of over 25 years, someone who's represented India at the United Nations multiple times.
அனைவருக்கும் மாலை வணக்கம். Good evening to all. It is very important for each individual to take responsibility in this society, because we know India, we know what is community. India is divided into caste system. So I hail from the caste, the outcast, the Dalit caste. Really, I want to say thanks to Harbin Arora for this opportunity for people like us to take part in this international conferences very often. I think for me this is the second conference. Attending this conference, making us to feel equal to each other, which is not very easy in this society. Actually, this responsibility of ALL, All Ladies League, is when we usually will teach our girl child not to play with the opposite sex, not to talk to the boys. So instead of saying that, we can teach our boys how to behave with a girl child. So we can teach boys there is limitations with the girls. And nowadays, the aged attended girls are not going to school in the rural areas because they are feeling very shy to face the boys, because many schools in the rural areas don't have doors. So when the girls want to go for loo, there's no doors for the toilets. So the girls doesn't want to go to these schools, and there are many dropouts in the rural areas. So we can teach our boys, and it is our responsibility also to take care of every steps of each girls. We can teach our boys how to treat our girls before marriage and after marriage. We read in the newspapers only when the girls cook, no, the fire, get into the girls, not the boys. Always only the girls will burn and they'll die. Why not the boys and the men? This is my question. Because in my service, I am the criminal side and the family court advocate. Only the women dies in the kitchen, not the men. So it is our responsibility. From CSR to ALL social responsibility, our social responsibility should be built with a focus in philanthropy, people and sustainability. More mature social organizations anticipated greater growth in the year ahead. Attracting millennials should be one of our key focus if we were to achieve the Mission Million 2022. Mission Million is a clarion call by All Ladies League and Women Economic Forum. Simple activities can be part of social responsibilities like switching off the power when not in use to control carbon emissions, segregating the trash into biodegradable and non-biodegradable, matching and encouraging charitable donations work by employees, sponsoring local schools, giving directly to local charities, going paperless in their daily business operations. Nowadays, we have many data, so paperless is best. And avoiding plastic is also our responsibility. To create awareness and visibility about ALL and WF, I would suggest entrepreneurs of ALL and WF to sign a statement of support for UN Sustainable Development Goals. Across every industry, every individual within an organization has the ability to improve the lives of other people on a global scale. They have responsibility to do so. It starts with a commitment from business leaders to challenge the status quo beyond technology or services, and to think about limiting their environment footprint, enhancing their philanthropic efforts, and having the right people on beyond to drive change. See, it is the responsibility for ALL, WF to bring the people, not the age limit like after 16 and up to 70, 80, all people, all women should mingle together in the conferences like this. It will actually, the youngsters will learn from the big people like you, the aged people like you, the energetic people like you, the experienced people like you. So next conference, so we should bring all the people together beyond the caste and class. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for bridging the gaps and diffusing the lines that divide us. Thank you, Elise. Welcoming Dr. Harbeen Arora to honor these amazing human beings who are amidst us. I'd like to call upon Dr. Venkatesh Prajna to accept this honor this afternoon at the Women Economic Forum in Madurai 2020. Taking one for Team America, we congratulate you. You are an exceptional woman of excellence. Vasudha Prakash. Accept this honor as an exceptional woman of excellence. Please come up for a group photograph. we are going to be revealing in the next session to you and giving you the secrets of a superpower you have not thought about before. You know what it is? Do you want to guess? Who's cheating here? Let them work a little bit. Not you. Let me choose. Let me see. What's a superpower that starts with an S? Give me your S superpowers. What do you think? Sexy, sensitive. Sensual, sensitive. She? Self-love. Beautiful. Smile. Abhishek, that's a good one. One more. Shine. Taking it away. I heard another one. Sleep. Is that why you're all sleep? Is that what you're practicing right now? I know you are. Some of you are practicing it. Yes, you're right. We are unraveling the secrets of a good night's sleep. And we have coming for you some